Nice. Looks like we already got a couple people in the waiting room.
Sweet. What's up, cool people that were waiting? Love that.
Hello, is Heaven in here? I'm gonna guess Heaven. I'm gonna
My
guess.
most loyal viewer every week.
Uh-huh. Every week I show up, I see Heaven in there.
Yeah, it hasn't caught up with showing anybody actually watching and stuff yet on my end, but
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, it just popped up.
yeah, okay. Oh, that's kind of a long delay then. It's not normally that much of a delay. I wonder what's going on. I don't know. It just randomly froze like 2 weeks ago or whatever for like 20 seconds, but oh well.
Yeah. Well, should we start? Hey, it is Heaven. Hi, Heaven.
All right.
What's the completely off-topic discussion we're gonna start with before we get into it?
Um, I don't
How,
know.
how about your praying mantis family? What's going on with those? Anything?
Oh, okay. Yes, we do have news. So, of those like 500 praying mantises or whatever, we like found one or two like here and there over the next like month or so, and then didn't see anything for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then we had one. All right, we got Steve in purple as well. We had one that just it was living in this little potted tree that Jess has in the backyard.
Okay.
It just lived there all the time. We'd see it every day. We'd be careful when we were watering it to make sure we didn't like blast it or anything. And we'd see it eating bugs sometimes or whatever, or pretending to be a leaf, all stretched out, stuff like that. And then he got some like brown on the edges of his back, like his abdomen. And then a day later, he had big old wings. He had molted. We saw him like one more time, and then he's been gone for 2 days. He took off into the world. He's fully grown. Our little mantis boy is all grown up. Maybe girl,
Be
but we've both been
strong.
calling him a boy the whole time.
I
So
was gonna ask if you knew, like, if you could
no,
differentiate the genders, or you're just guessing.
no
Okay.
clue, no clue.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, it's a 50-50 guess, right?
yeah, we've still seen a couple other ones. I was cleaning out the gutters the other day, and there was a way small one on the roof, probably from one of the other mantis eggs that were in our yard. We saw one in a little crevice in our neighbor's roof the other day, like in the eave underneath the roof and stuff like that. So they're around. Hopefully, we'll get some more next year and stuff like that. But the one that we've been checking up on is all grown up.
Dude, that is definitely the coolest, like, insect infestation I have around, you know?
Yeah, it was totally cool. And our garden has been a lot better this year too. We got it deeper this year. We added a second like layer of 2x4s to it and made the dirt deeper. And
Okay.
the tomatoes have done a lot better. Still not as much sun as we would like, but yeah, I get a handful of cherry tomatoes basically every day.
Nice. That's not bad. I
And
love, like, I didn't do it this year, but I usually grow, like, herbs and stuff in my
yeah,
garden, which is really nice. Or, like, jalapeno peppers, you know? Those grow pretty well.
yeah, our peppers didn't grow that well because we don't have enough sun, so they're like
Hmm.
growing tall instead of making like growing fruit and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, never
And
seen a real praying mantis.
do they live in Europe? I don't,
I don't.
don't know.
I think so. I mean, there's definitely Asian praying mantises
Yeah.
because there are two invasive species of like there's two different subspecies of Chinese mantis. Like that's what the species is called. And those are both invasive to the United States from like 100 years ago or whatever. They're basically endemic now. But and then there's the Carolina mantis, or maybe it's two species of Carolina mantis and one Chinese mantis. I don't know, but so I wouldn't be surprised if there's European mantids. But
Yeah, I didn't know that they lived in Chicago. but one just like landed on the window of my classroom last year. I was shocked to see it. It was during lunch too, so the kids didn't get to see it, which I was kind of bummed about. But
Yeah. How old are your students?
10.
You teach elementary school. Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, fourth grade.
Gotcha. Cool, cool. All right. Well, we got we're 5 minutes in here or something, and we got
Yeah,
5 battles to get. We're gonna watch today.
let's rock and roll.
Jordan was right in that I've been watching too many battles and not getting to talk about them all. But also, I'm gonna stretch it out a little more. We're gonna watch 5 instead of 3. But
Yeah, do it.
first up, we've got Wotan versus Goose. We're just watching one game of this set, right? So this is game 3. Goose had a pretty nice game 1. Wotan got a little greedy with an encore, and then kind of just left Goose in a pretty good position after a dragon dance, and got to do some good work with Flygon. Won that first game. Wotan then won game 2 with Terragon Lapras end game. And I think a Rage Powder. I don't remember what the Rage Powder set, but with the Venonat, and then game 3, which is what we're gonna watch, had some pretty fun stuff in it as well.
Yeah, and Goose, of course, having a pretty strong season, looking to make playoffs. I'm going to try my best to make sure that doesn't happen. It's not personal, but I can't
Yeah.
disappoint
Well,
other guys trying to make playoffs.
you
And then
you do
Wotan, I
have
think,
to 2-0 Goose to win,
oh yeah,
to keep Goose out of playoffs.
and
Goose just has to win one game.
all of my sets this season have gone to 3 games. I think J Star is the only one that didn't. So
Oh, there
like
you go.
Wotan's another one that even though the record doesn't show it, I think Wotan has definitely showed us some sauce this season. A couple really good, well contested matches. Like against me week 1, we had a great set. So good showing
Yeah,
for rest of
with
the
the
season.
exception of constant iron defenses everywhere all the time, this has been one of the most exciting VBL seasons ever.
Oh yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Maybe a little more iron defense and iron defense body press than I would have preferred to watch, but other than that, it's been
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, having that is absolutely my plan. Ruin
Yeah.
somebody's season and then that's it. And then I walk off into the sunset. That's right.
Alrighty, let's fire this first one up here. So the fast lead from Wotan versus I think this was a Scarf Pessimian as well. I think we determined, right?
Yeah, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. So Scarf Pessimian, so should be outspeeding these guys here, but just
Yeah,
gonna
get the
switch
switch 'cause
in.
yeah,
Get
fake
the
out's gonna go there.
the turn 2 fake out and just chomp on that Moonblast. So basically, if the Passimian had stayed in it and attacked, this Rabombi was sashed. I remember it took a rock slide in an earlier game that took it down to sash all at once. So like the Passimian was definitely not going to KO it, so it would have had to been a double target. And we know that the cloak was on Tinkaton, so it's not on Charizard. So like Goose can't reliably double target this Rabombi. Rabombi's going to get to attack, and a Moonblast to this Passimian. It's just not looking great. So I think a smart switch out here.
Yeah, and Wotan maybe calling the switch there, that targeting that Charizard slot. If I'm Goose, I'm thinking fake out's going into that Pissimian every time, and it didn't.
Yeah, and then we're throwing some nuzzles, and then Terra Blast as the choice into what started the turn as the Charizard slot. As I was watching it, I was like, is that really the best Wotan's got? But stabs aren't doing anything against the fire flying type, right? So probably.
Yeah, but is it really doing that much less? And you get the chance for a special attack drop. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the Moonblast, is still stab. It does have that chance at a special attack drop. Moonblast probably still a reasonable call into that slot, but LS hopping and saying, "Where's Beartick?"
Beartick
Beartick
is
didn't
not
even
on
make my
Discord.
notes for this week, let alone the thumbnail.
Yeah, take
I
that,
had
LS.
I did write 8 pages of notes for this week's stream, but Beartick did not make the notes. Other stuff about your match did, but not Beartick. So yeah, Gigaton Hammer takes it down to Sash, and yeah, the Moonblast definitely killing it from 57%. No paralysis, Rock Tomb to finish it off.
Yeah, and Raichu definitely looking good in this set, being able to paralyze things.
Yeah,
Tinkaton does not
surprising.
get paralyzed there, but good speed control, fake out. Raichu pretty good in this format.
So predicting, I did watch Goose's video. I think kind of just on autopilot with the Terrafire there, right? Because like nothing nothing either of these mons are gonna do is really gonna, like, you don't necessarily need that defensive fire type right away because you're levitating anyway. So like the Terra Ground, Terra Blast or something like that wouldn't have got you. I think Goose would agree that the terraing this Mischievous here probably a like game losing mistake pretty close to, although that doesn't really become obvious for a turn or two.
Yeah, and I believe Icicle Spear was revealed this set too, so maybe that had something to do with it.
Oh yeah, it could be to resist the ice attack. Yeah, it does have Icicle Spear. Calm
Yeah.
Mind I like a lot, but then Wotan's play of just Final Gambit now being an option into what's otherwise going to be a real problem in this calm-minded up Mischievous to just capitalize on that Terra, be able to just trade one for one,
Yeah,
and
that tankiness with evil Eviolite does not matter if you can just take it out with Final Gambit, right?
yeah, and getting the chance to Dragon Dance there. The fake outs come back in for both teams. Uh, yeah, another encore into must have been into the Tinkaton slot, thinking that Tinkaton is gonna fake out the Lapras, right? And then Wotan's got it locked into fake out with no switch out, making it basically a 2v1. So reasonable call, just didn't quite go in Wotan's favor there.
Yeah, good call by Goose to not play into that as well. And there's the Icicle
Yeah,
Spear, and that's
and
big damage into Charizard.
has to get that fifth hit to kill it, and
Yeah.
it does. And then the Rock Tomb just not quite going to be enough in the 1v2 or in the 1v1 there at the end versus the +1 Terra Blast. Wotan finishes it off. Yeah, super smart plays from Wotan. Maybe a little bit in his own head there at the end, trying to one up Goose by one. But
Yeah, if
ultimately
you
it was the Dragon Dance and the Final Gambit on that turn that I think were the decisive turns for sure.
what happens if you encore Gigaton Hammer? It fails, right?
Yeah, Gigaton Hammer fails.
Yeah. So I
Yep.
mean that would be cool too, but you're outspeeding it, so
Yeah, and there were in game one there was some what I would call greedy encoring as well. The Charizard Dragon Dance, or not Charizard, Flygon Dragon Dance turn one, and then on turn two, Wotan encored the Flygon,
yeah.
but Flygon definitely faster than that Raichu after a Dragon Dance. So you're just encoring it into whatever move it uses on turn two anyway, which is probably going to be an attack.
Right.
And, you know, I guess maybe if you're encored into the Earthquake that it had, then maybe you bring in the Staraptor and you trade one for one, but now you've traded your Raichu as well because it's killed you with the Earthquake. So, yeah, maybe a little bit greedy on the encores there, but, ultimately successful, and it's the Terra Ground Lapras and that Scarf Final Gambit as well that I think were really the matter. Oh, actually keeps working when it's encored. So
So that would
self
not be good.
encore to
That'd be
Gigaton
really,
Hammer every
yeah.
turn. There we
Oh,
go.
that might be the play for the
There we go.
future.
It's the unexplored strats.
Yeah, Encore was really not much of a factor this season. I don't remember seeing it in a whole lot of sets.
There was one or two where it got locked in as a you know, to get into an advantageous 2v1 or to force a switch or something like that. But it was not a huge player in this lower tier season, like it has occasionally been in
Yeah.
in higher tier ones. Not as much prankster encore running around, which is like a huge part of it, right? What makes it a reliable thing to bring. So yeah, I guess we do have Grafii, right? So there is some,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And here we see the primate combo, which we saw was absolutely stellar in prior seasons, but I feel like in a low tier format it's not quite as good because you dedicate a lot more points to it.
yeah. So this is the Camo Samax battle. We had in game one we had role play plus, so Weirdir copying plus on Ampharos to boost Ampharos's damage. Pretty sweet, loved that.
Really cool.
The game one lead that Samax had, or that Camo had, I feel like Samax really had to work really hard to break through of that Weirdir and Ampharos. But then, had to, trade resources and stuff. But once that lead was broken, Camo just didn't really have much, right? Because it was like Jump Pluff in the back, and I want to say Frost last, but it might have been Primeape. And there just wasn't much in the back, right? And so once that assertive lead was kind of broken, that was, a game one victory for Samax. Camo wins game two. Ampharos pretty beefy. Jump Pluff, Pollen Puff keeping it alive. In that second game, Camo wins that second one, and then we're going to watch the third one here as well. Yeah, Roleplay Plus, awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
So Camo, for the first time in this set, just leads the anger point lead, right? Oh yeah, I added a dark mode everywhere extension to my Firefox, and it does this weird thing with the field effects on Showdown where it makes them solid colors now instead of the regular backgrounds. But
hey, you will never forget Grassy Terrain is up when it looks like this.
Yeah, and Trick Room is just solid magenta purple instead of the grid floor thing that it is normally and stuff like that. But yeah, that's why it looks different than normal.
Yeah, so definitely looking at a fake out into Primeape here. That's what I'm thinking if I'm Camo.
Yeah, totally.
That's what comes out.
Fake out, set the Tailwind with the Frost Breath. It's maxed attack. So this Primeape now does have 150 base power Rage Fist, right? Because it has been hit twice. It is maxed attack. Definitely scary, but it facing Samax's Tailwind, Terra Steel, super nice there. Another double into it, definitely being kept alive by that Terra Steel. And then the Grassy Terrain goes away because of the Ice Spinner, and Primeape back up to 60% of its health after the Drain Punch there.
Yeah, kind of sad
rough
that Drain Punch
first couple of
take it
turns for Samax.
Yeah, the Drain Punch not killing the Thwacky is a little rough because that Woodhammer is doing a big chunk of damage, but Primeape is in a threatening position here.
Yeah, so the knockoff did 19. It's going to do less. Basically, Drifblim have to use a different move into the Primeape this time, and Woodhammer doing 34. Not enough to KO this 60%. So Primeape going to get to attack again, right? Strength stat barely making a difference. Now it's only at +5 instead of +6, and Samax is just I'm going to get damage on Frostlass. It's going to die to the Woodhammer recoil, and Rage Fist now at 200 to 250 base power, right? It's been hit.
Such an insane move.
Yeah,
it's
super scary. And Camo just playing carefully, playing cautious. The Frostlass goes down with a crunch there. Samax gets his
Yeah.
guts burn.
Protect here is interesting because you didn't use it turn one. Maybe just hoping they're not going to go for fake out, but it feels like fake out on turn one is the play every time.
Yeah, well, that would then also protect against the Frost Breath, right? And with that being Camo's main plan, you
Yeah.
do want it to get hit by that Frost Breath.
Yeah, you
guarantee the
have to make
crit,
sure he
and
doesn't double,
max its
right?
attack.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, so we've got the jump luff in. It's now the fastest thing around. Tailwind's gone. And in game 2, we saw this jump luff as a really strong support piece for next to Ampharos, keeping it alive with Pollen Puffs, and it's kind of going to just do the same thing again, right? Pretty solid damage into the Primate with Basculin. And yeah, Pollen Puff bring it back up to 80%, Drain Punch back to 100, and this one's over.
Yeah, and here we definitely see the primate of old. This is what we got used to a couple seasons ago from Camo. So nice to see it here and very dominant.
Yeah, Jumpluff, I think definitely the MVP of this match.
Yeah,
Great, Tailwind and Pollen Puff, great support for the partner Pokemon that's doing the damage. But I mean, Samax basically had to do like 200% of Ampharos' health to it in game 2, and probably at least 200% to Primeape as well. So
yeah, having that fast pollen puff combined with those super buffed up drain punches just makes the primate so hard to kill, even after knockoff.
Yeah. My thought on Pollen Puff, instead of it being that it heals, 50% or whatever, I've always thought it should have done the damage calculation and then healed that amount if you're targeting a partner Pokemon, but obviously that's just kind of a different move at that point, right? Because then you got to take into account typing and stuff like that. But
it would probably be a pretty big nerf to Amoonguss, which I don't think a lot of people would complain about.
True. Or, we could just have Pollen Puff in the world and then also have this other move, similar move that I've created that's maybe a different type or something like that. I don't know.
Well,
Psychic, well, there's Heal Pulse, so probably not Heal Pulse, but
Pollen Puff into something like, why can't I think of it? Cresselia or something might get a little out of hand, though, being able to, almost full heal if you have
true.
Yeah.
All right, so we got one. We're going to watch a full set here. And the full set we're going to watch is the Daddy versus Jordan match.
This was such a fun match. I really enjoyed this one. I know I only have probably 1 week left. Maybe I'll come back at some point. We'll see. But I'm glad that this is one of the ones that I get to go out on. This one was excellent.
Almost 2 full pages of notes on this match. One of my final notes is, wish I had been there to watch. Wish I had watched it live.
Yeah, it was super fun to play it. One of the reasons that I drafted the team that I did is so I could do wacky stuff like the fling strategies you'll see here, and I'm glad I got to do a lot of that stuff this season.
Yeah. So we got three battles to go through here. So we'll do these maybe a little faster since there's 3 of them than we did the first 2. But starting off, everybody just wants to weakness policy attack themselves here in this matchup, and a scary Poltegeist showing up. And boy, if Jordan had, I mean, it's easy to say if, what if and if only and stuff like that, but if Jordan had targeted the Lucario, it's over for you.
It's over.
That's game 1, because then Poltegeist just gets to do whatever it wants for the rest of the game, totally unhindered. But it's at -1. It's already taken some Sucker Punch damage, and you're hitting it with a stab super effective Shadow Claw. Poltegeist is down. Brutal.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for, because I did have Protect on the Lucario, but I wanted to get that surprise Ghost Terra and just KO.
Yeah, and just getting to KO again as well. And this not being neutralizing gas, being levitate, I think, if I remember correctly, the plan was that it was supposed to be that it was being brought as anti-Earthworm tech.
Yeah,
I don't remember
it did have
specifically
fire
when
blast.
Jordan
Yeah.
was planning. But yeah, coughing coming in, which is awesome, but then not being neutralizing gas to punish this justified and unburdened nonsense you're doing over here is
Yeah,
rough.
that was definitely something I considered in prep, but I was like, it's just coughing. Is coughing really gonna come? I had other ways to deal with it, I guess.
Poisons everybody. And
Yeah, so then after, using Fling, I get that unburden procced. So then it's just, get some leers off, see where the not covert cloak clear amulet is, and just get a little information for the next game.
yeah, coughing gets a KO, excellent. But coughing versus the world, not exactly looking great for the toxic ball here.
Yeah, Jordan getting a little more information with the protect here, just to see what Gramble's running. So I just reveal Crunch to not give away too much.
Yeah, I think maybe just trying for a double protect, on that turn 6 there, when he just didn't and you shadow clawed it and kill it. I think you get maybe a little bit more information, right? I mean, you probably just crunch again, but maybe you
Yeah.
don't. Um, probably a strictly technically correct play, but you know,
Yeah, it doesn't
those
hurt to get
kinds of
the
small
extra
edges,
information, but also, right?
not.
Yeah. You're probably not going to get it. Maybe just try to get the kill for the stats.
Yeah, crazy double weakness policy leads here to start the first game, and then we get some adjustments. We lead
Yes.
the Inteleon and Electivire here. This first play here, so the fake out in Covert Cloak, sure, all that's great. I was very surprised to see the Supercell Slam go into this Blaziken.
Yeah.
The reason being that a Blaziken lead, I would say, without having actually counted, 90% to protect turn 1. Because you want
Yeah.
that speed boost, and so you can start being a real terror, right?
Right.
So throwing your Supercell Slam into what to me looked like an extremely likely protect was shocking to see. I was like, what is happening? And then, that's going to do 50%
Yeah, and I needed the speed boost here to outspeed the Inteleon. So I was a little worried here about eating an ice move when I Terra Dragoned, but
Sure. I do love the Terra Dragon on turn 2, though, because it's resisting both stabs, right?
Right.
Inteleon probably doesn't. I think it does. No, yeah, it doesn't. Use Icy Wind again, right? So resisting both stabs is nice. Although 40% still a lot. Like
so it's
Inteleon's
not a
still
very
strong,
bulky Pokemon.
and
Yeah.
Blaziken still pretty frail. But
Yeah. And the burn was not great. Didn't make me feel great.
yeah,
And
Hydro Pump
Pump
miss also huge for Jordan.
Yeah, a little indicative of my season that turn, but it's Pokemon. His stuff happens.
Yeah, so then you're gonna protect here. The sucker punch is gonna fail. So on this turn, what's up with this Sword Stance? This seems just like a throw to me. Essentially, are you just like what's
Just
happening
trying
here?
to dodge I'm trying to dodge the sucker punch here, and then I'm hoping I can get a hit off into the Inteleon.
And then just hoping the burn doesn't kill you anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does the burn do 8%?
Yeah, I think you're basically taking eight or so each turn here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I figured I died a sucker punch here. See if I can get off a Swords Dance, kill the Inteleon. Probably a misplay, in actuality.
gotcha.
And by here, the game is pretty much wrapped up. Orthworm versus the world. It's a good Pokemon. It's not that good.
Yeah, it's not that good. These are like real Pokemon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that skull.
It's gonna get to take a
as
KO
much
though,
damage as
so
it did.
not nothing.
Yeah, nice adjustments by Jordan here, and then absolutely huge. And I mean, I didn't know Electivire's full set, but going into the next game, it seemed like it was an all-out attacker. A lot of coverage moves. So I get really thrown off turn one, even though, looking back at the replays, which we'll see in a second, I don't know if I should have been so thrown off, but I was.
Oh yeah, the saving follow me for game three, which is what happened, and so clearly Jordan's plan, or at least clearly to me, I don't know if this is actually the case, but I'm going to give him credit for it. Game two, the Electivire and Inteleon lead is a very solid anti-lead into your game one lead, right? You won game one, bring it again in game two. Why adjust if you don't have to? Turns out you did adjust, and maybe to your detriment. So bringing the same lead again a second time, or well, in game three, but a second time, predicting you will go back to what worked for you in game one, I think is a very smart call by Jordan.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure I can't read Jordan's thoughts, but I think that's what Jordan's thinking. You know what I mean? And you'll see it work out really well here on this turn one.
Yeah, and hide in the follow me is great. Just give me that fling, give me the speed boost.
Yeah, yeah. In retrospect, it's
icy
like,
wind.
It seems so obvious, right? Like that follow me is the fourth move, but when I'm playing in real time, it's not crossing my mind for some reason. I'm like, this is an attacking Electivire. It's got all the coverage moves.
Honestly, I was just as when I was watching it, I was like, oh, saving that follow me, like making it seem like it's just for attacking. Like it's just a great call. Way to keep the information hidden.
Yeah, and that's why Electivire cost so many points.
Did it cost a lot of points? What was it on the board?
Yeah, I think it was like 18 or 19.
Oh, well, fair enough. I mean, it does have great coverage and pretty good stats and good abilities, so
yeah,
fair enough. Where there's a rock slide, there's a way, but you're at some minus speed on both of these guys. Here, yeah, Ice Punch would have just killed it. Big damage there. Still being faster than the because Unburden doubles.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah. Okay. So I guess not that surprising. Just hoping the Leaf Storm hits, which it does most of the time. It's 90%, right? And this burn keeping Jordan in it.
The second Scald burn.
Yeah, well, keeping Jordan in this game with the second Scald burn. I mean, that's why you run Scald instead of Water Pledge.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's the way the game is designed. It's unfortunate for me because that close combat picks up if we don't get the burn. But
for sure. I mean, 51 with a burn is definitely killing otherwise. And then you're in a 4v2 and it's you're laughing basically.
Yeah.
But Poltergeist comes in, Sucker Punch does a lot of damage, hits the crick. Hits the crit is rough. But Poltergeist now I guess not necessarily faster than Sceptile, depending on how fast you had it pre-unburden.
Sceptiles, even with no speed investment, I think will be faster.
But kills it, and then trades the Poltergeist. So we're in a 3v2. The Lucario gonna go down to a burn. The Inteleon almost dead. Clear Amulet, so the Blaziken not at -1 due to an Intimidate. But it still kind of feels like it could go either way at this point.
Yeah, at this point for me, it definitely feels winnable. Now, I know
definitely.
that I have Granbull in the back, and Granbull does not love going into
into the overquill here. It doesn't really have much for you. It was knockout or knockoff, play rough, or crunch, not knockoff, but crunch, play rough, protect, and another move or something like that. Probably
shot, maybe, or poison barb or whatever it's called.
Something.
Yeah. So detect here. I know that the Lucario's dead no matter what.
Yeah. So the original plan of I know this overcool was Terra Ghost, and this being a Terra Ghost curse to deal with Orthworm, with Jordan not having great ways to deal with it otherwise, and then just ends up regular curse as a pretty good setup move instead. Because like the Blaziken is so fast after just the one boost, and you're just going to get boosts. So the speed drop is essentially irrelevant. This Inteleon is managing to hold on against all odds way longer than it should. It's going to get to Sucker Punch something.
It's that skull
on the next turn. I know, right?
Yeah, and right now I'm wishing that I had Orthworm in the back instead of Gramble. But Gramble, very versatile. It has, and you'll see a couple of the moves that I'm able to throw out here. Now Jordan plays the end game really well, but
no fear,
rough
just
here.
curses a second time. I was a little surprised not to see a Sucker Punch on Inteleon that turn, just to like,
do something.
Chunk 40% onto the Blaziken or something like that. Like even at -1 off of a not good attack, like Blaziken is paper thin, frail. It's probably going to do some like 30%, maybe something like that. But
yeah, the Blaziken had some bulk, so and maybe Jordan's just hoping to be able to get a Scald off there. But
yeah, fair enough. Trusting
surviving this liquidation was absolutely
hidden,
not calced.
The hidden extra item of built-in focus sash.
Yeah, I just revealed my focus sash on top of the amulet. Yeah, and then this ending here we'll see. So Jordan Barbarage is not going to take down.
Gets the poison.
Does get the poison, and then here the Terra, so that I'm not able to take it out with an Earthquake.
Yeah,
very close. Very, very fun set.
Super nice.
Really
hold it till
Jordan.
the last second, and then that extra curse, and then the late Terra definitely what's doing it. And I mean, you living on 1%, like crazy, right? Because I mean, it would have been 1v1.
Yeah, so many things could have changed this set, right? I mean, if Jordan had called the, if he had targeted the Lucario turn 1 of the set, everything's different. The Scald Burns don't happen. Everything's different. If I click Crunch instead of Earthquake at the end, everything's different, right? So there's so many plays that could have changed the outcome of the series, but I think we both played pretty well, and it was a really, really fun, exciting set.
Yeah, super fun to watch. Everybody's popping off immediately in the Discord after it, and I was like, well, I gotta just go watch it right now. Watched it, opened up a whole fresh page. I got a page and a half spread of notes here for it, but yeah, super fun set. Well played to both, and Jordan's still in playoff contention because of it. Speaking of, we're not going to do predictions. I want to do some honorable mention, a bunch of other cool stuff that people should watch if they hadn't. Because like I mentioned, I got tons of notes on this week, tons of cool stuff. The LS versus Pancake game, game 1 is super fun, and then game 2, Wigglytuff actually showed up and took a kill. So congratulations to Wigglytuff. You almost made the weekly heat. If you had gotten a kill and been cool, you'd have been in weekly heat. Electric versus your boy. Super smart play to coil at the end of game 2 to just hedge on your boy's side as a just in case to win that game. Jace versus J-Star. Jace plays a great 1v3 game 1. Watch that one. Keith versus Pardus. Self-paralysis onto Golurk to be
that
slow.
could have gone so differently.
So awesome, and then got paralyzed is brutal. LS, your match was fun to watch. I don't even remember what Beartick did in it though. So
Beartick!
Wigglytuff and Wartortle and your good switching is the things that I remember about that game.
Wartortle was huge.
So yeah, Keith versus Pardus game 2 is sweet. What else I got that's great? Game 1 of Ryan versus Purple. 4 turns, 4 KOs from Primate, just ranching. And then the game 2 and game 3 adjustments. Purple Made was really smart. Played really aggressively. and kept Tailwind from going up, which was a huge deal. What else I got here? All right, so the other thing I want to do, I want to talk about the important games to watch this coming week. There are a lot of them. Heaven versus Poppin is a straight up winning in. So whoever wins makes playoffs. That's going to be exciting. Jace versus Steve is a win or dream crush match. Same for you versus Goose, except Goose only has to win one game, not the whole set. Jordan J Star is another win and in for Jordan. LS versus Electric. If LS loses, they're out. But if LS wins, then it's a tight race for a fourth playoff slot between the two of them. Like, they're part of that contention. Sly versus Purple is for uncontested first place in their division. Sly's the only remaining undefeated team, and he's trying to close the season off with no losses, so that'll be one to watch. And then the Week 6 match that hasn't been played, Tux versus Red Jolteon, the loser cannot make playoffs. The winner, if they win next week, can still scrap in a playoff victory, potentially. So the unplayed Week 6 match, also potentially a pretty fun one to watch.
A lot of matches to tune into this week.
Yeah. It's been a super fun season. We're not done yet. We got one more week of the regular season. Maybe some exhibition matches in a content week between the regular season and playoffs. Maybe we'll go straight into a playoffs. If anybody wants to do an exhibition match live, maybe on a weekly heat, I get somebody on. We'll commentate it. We'll talk about it live. That could be pretty fun. Just throwing that out there now. Shoot me a DM if you want to do that. I'll make it happen. Other than that, we'll see you next week. You got any words of wisdom for the children, Daddy?
Goose, I love you, buddy, but I'm coming for you. Right? I gotta do what I gotta do. Thanks for having me, James. It's always a pleasure, and you guys, you'll be hearing from me.
Excellent. Rock and roll, Daddy. Thanks for having me. Thanks for being on my stream that I do every week.
Anytime.
And we'll see y'all in the Discord. We'll see you next week.